Domestically, Singapore has launched the Singapore Green Plan, which is our whole-of-nation movement to realize our net zero emissions aspirations and advance the national agenda of sustainable development.
Indonesia has been piloting this approach for palm oil in 3 regions since 2020. The sustainable jurisdictional approach puts forward the principle of mutual cooperation among all stakeholders of the administrative region in achieving the common goal. In this changing world, we realize the importance of collaboration in global level, especially among ASEAN countries, to scale up conservation and restoration.
This relates to the point you made about government serving as a pathfinder, but then partnering businesses. Now, government sometimes is the regulator. I myself, some years ago, was chairman of the National Environment Agency as a regulator. Is the mindset different?
And this is where I think Singapore has certain strength. Because we do have very clear framework of legal and regulatory policies. At the same time, we have certain platforms and structures that allow us to have that partnership and collaboration with businesses. But at the same time, we have set up recently some structures that allow that collaboration to take an even closer link.
The more personal question I want to ask you, Minister, and in closing, it really is, you're one of the few ministers who've really spent a long time in the private sector. You began in one of the bigger companies of Singapore and then moved to another big company of Singapore before joining politics. And what would you advise the younger Ms. Fu, private sector CFO, to do today?
Sometimes when we are in the private sector, we tend to be very caught up with very short-term pressures. And my advice would be for all of us in that role, whether it's an accountant, whether it's a CFO, whether it's a CEO, to step back from time to time and really look at a 10, 20, 30-year horizon and ask ourselves, what are some of the risk factors that will affect our businesses, our legacy for the next few decades? I think it's really worthwhile for us to start thinking about both mitigation and adaptation.